To the direction Wepara Valley for lookout at the 2008 vintage. We are just above the Wepara vineyard. Wepara vineyard, it's the vineyard on the hill on the Seine. And it's the reason why they chose to put the vineyard here, because it's protected from the breeze of the ocean. Can you explain a bit the two terroirs of Wepara?
Yeah.
If I understand, there is a river that separates mostly the two terroirs, or
yeah. The Wepara River, which is about 5 kilometers from here in that direction, separates the two parts. But there is, and on the other side of the Wepara River, it is mostly gravels. On this side, there is a gravel band close to the river, and then the soils get heavier and heavier coming up this way. There's a lot of clay on the western side of the valley, and on the eastern side there are calcareous clays, or clays over limestone.
Muddy Water, where I used to work during 7 months, is an estate situated on the clay and limestone soils. The first vines were planted in 1993, and now it's 15 hectares in production and 10 hectares in lease. The winery was built in 2000, and Belinda Gould was the winemaker from the beginning. We vinified this year 207 tons, with all the grapes that we bought. The vineyard is in conversion in organic, and what you see is what they've got. Like everyone in New Zealand, the vines are netted against the birds that eat the crop. I want to know also, what about the crop of the year? What do you think about the harvest and everything?
I think it was quite a difficult year. I quite liked it for the early Pinots. I liked the early Pinot from the hillside. I felt that it had quite good ripeness at reasonably low Brix, and for us that's really good. It was difficult, very difficult for Riesling. We've never had so much botrytis, but at least the worst botrytis was in the Riesling and not in the Pinot Noir.
Yeah.
The Pinotage was difficult with the botrytis. I liked the Syrah. I liked the Chardonnay more than I expected to.
Yeah.
I'm reasonably happy with the Chardonnay. I'm hard to please. I like the first Riesling we picked, and I like the late harvest Riesling. That's exciting to make a late harvest Riesling at such high sugar. That's really exciting. I like these fermenters hold about 1.6 to 1.8 tons of fruit, and we put them on a pallet so that we can move them. It means we can move them under the stemmer, so we don't need a must pump. And for me, that is very good. I really don't like must pumps. I don't really like pumps, but I really don't like must pumps. So we can put them under the stemmer, the stem down into them, and then we can put them away. Then, if they have any ethyl acetate when they're starting to ferment, we need to hurry them along. Then we can put them into the warm room, and that warms them up and makes the yeast happy. We can put them over in there. We can bring them out of the warm room if we need to, if they're getting too warm. But we find that with this size of fermenter, they get a nice temperature, but they never get too hot. They usually get up to at least about around 30 degrees in the cap, or 32 sometimes in the cap, but they never get too hot, so we don't need cooling. So yeah, I find them very, very good and very useful.
Why do you use mostly the punch down and not on a bit of pump over?
I used to use only punch downs, but I found that we had some problems with H2S. I prefer punch downs to pump overs, but sometimes I think the wine needs some air, so we do some pump overs as well. But I prefer punch downs. I prefer not to pump the wine if I can help it.
The bold are brazen, the weak are sunk, the fast are fat, the last are none, no middlemen are lying in the trunk, the heads are rising, the hearts are lost, the hands that feed, the face too full of falling off and lying in the dust. Some they give and some they take, hearts to mend, no minds to break. You've got the love to give.
Can you explain a bit the organization of the winery?
I'm only one woman. One woman and one forklift. We need to be able to move everything between me and the forklift, because after you guys all leave, there's only me left here, and so I'm not very strong. I'm a little weak old lady. And as far as organising the winery goes, with these barrels on these pallets that we can move around with the forklift, we can always get to any barrel we want to. So if we find a barrel on the very far wall, at the back, at the bottom, we can still get to it, and it only takes maybe half an hour forklift driving to get there. And I like that. I think it's really good, so we can get the barrel out, do whatever we need to do to it, put all the barrels back again. Everything can move, and everything can be moved by me. It's even better.
You use mostly wild fermentation. There is a reason, or
yeah, I like them. This year we've used more yeast than we have for years, and I'm not happy about that. But we needed to use yeast on some of the fruit was very sad. It needed to be fermenting straight away, and we needed to use yeast. So we used some yeast this year. Normally we would not use any yeast, and I like it like that. Why do I like wild ferments? I like wild ferments because I like to not add anything to the wine, and there are yeast out there. We may as well use them.
yeah, sure. But why do you use a barrel for Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, Pinotage, but not for the Riesling?
I would like to have everything in barrels. We've tried Riesling in barrels, and we haven't been altogether convinced that it was the right thing to do. I think it loses some fruit. But we have now the 500 litre puncheons, and if we had some really big wooden barrels, I would put Riesling in them. We just don't have anything bigger than a 500 litre puncheon. And this year we didn't have enough whites, enough space for whites in barrels, so we couldn't put any Riesling in barrels. But I would like to put Riesling in barrels in future. I really like barrels. I think barrels keep the wine really well. I think the wine stays nice and healthy in barrels.
But also the bike.